Hello, everyone. Today you're listening to Heart Healing Conversations with Dawn and Janna. Every week we pull back the curtain on the things that weigh us down and explore the tools that lift us up. From vulnerable stories to practical wisdom, we're diving deep into what it means to live wholeheartedly. Let's get into today's conversation. Hello, Dawn. How are you?
Hi, Janna. I'm good. It's been kind of an exciting week in my life. So Ed and I went away for a few days and we eloped and got married.
Woohoo! Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a really exciting time and we just enjoyed, you know, having that time to celebrate our relationship. And one of the things we did before we got married is we really sat back and talked about how we got to where we are today. I think a lot of people can relate to the fact of getting into a relationship and oftentimes thinking, well, this relationship's going to be better than the last one, or this is going to be different than the last one because we were hurt in the past and things didn't go as we had hoped or as our expectations have been set out. And so we have these hopes, dreams, and expectations for our new relationship. And sometimes it doesn't go that way because we have all this pain that we've been holding inside from not only relationships, but other things that have happened in our past, maybe back to our childhood. Can you relate to that?
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned that you guys did this before you got married. Like, what a great time to sit and kind of hold that reflection and hold some really meaningful conversations as a couple on where you have been and where you're still yet to go. Like, I love that your healing has brought you both to such a healthy place that you have that safe space to do that. That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we do it often in our relationship, but we thought it was really an important time to reflect back because, like most couples, our relationship was really rocky for quite some time because we didn't have the tools right when we first met to navigate a healthy relationship. We hadn't done all the work, even though we'd both done quite a bit of work on things that had happened in our past and tried to heal it. We didn't have the specific tools of the grief recovery method, which were the ones that we both feel helped us move forward and let go of some of that pain versus carrying it forward in our relationship. So we've now found ourselves in a different spot, like being able to relate to one another better, being able to navigate things without those resentments.
Yeah. I know just in my experiences, moving forward into any kind of a new relationship, even if it's just a new friendship, um,
Mhm.
if you have those old hurts, say you had a friend that, kind of betrayed you previously and you don't feel you can trust, it's hard to move forward into a new space and not hold those same beliefs for that new person. Anything that comes up, you automatically kind of hide yourself out and think, oh, well, they're here to hurt me just like somebody else did. And that might not even be the case. And being stuck in that pain, again, previously I found myself even where I wouldn't talk to that person because, well, I know they're just doing the same thing the other person did. It's
Mhm.
everybody's the same this way. And really, they're not. It's so important to realize that each relationship that we have is unique, as each person is unique, and we can hold different conversations with each person, each relationship. Sometimes other people aren't healed or working on the healing like we do, and it doesn't become a safe space. But that's a good conversation to still have and know where you stand.
Oh, I agree. I remember at the beginning of our relationship, I would react to things versus respond. And I was reacting from that unhealed part of me. And I was reacting because it reminded me of something from the past, and then I had to remember that, like, that's my past. This is my current experience. And this person in my life is not that other individual that hurt me. And so it did take a lot of reflection and pausing and choosing to respond before reacting, while I was healing some of those parts of me that were still living in that pain. Um,
I
and
think
as I look back to my past, I can see that in, like you said, even in friendships and all types of different relationships, showing up that way and expecting someone to hurt me or, cause me discomfort when really I was remembering something. And sometimes it's just at a cellular level, I think, that we remember things that have happened.
I think too, especially like you said, in that level where we get, I guess, in kind of in a negative space, and we constantly feel like everything is out to get us, or everybody's attacking me. Nobody wants to be nice to me. I think when we get into that kind of a negative headspace, it's a downward spiral. I mean, that's kind of what we attract then. That's all we see because that's all we're focused on. So
Yeah.
taking those big steps and getting, even if it's just one small step of, okay, today I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm gonna, hey, give me 5 minutes. I'm gonna talk about the, or I'm gonna think about this myself, and I will reach out to you and we can have a conversation. Um, just being able to do one positive thing to make that relationship not so reactive, or the conversation not so reactive, can have a huge impact. Sometimes it seems like it takes a long time to see those impacts, but the amazing outcomes of just changing that mindset a little bit more positive, like, okay, I know today's not so good, but tomorrow will be better.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And one thing that just came to me as you were talking is like, we are always a choice in relationships.
Mm,
We choose how to show up. And, Ed and I spent time talking about how love is a choice. I mean, it's also a feeling, but when you're together for a long time, that butterfly feeling leaves, but you make a choice to show up every day and to love that person. Um, but to do that in a really healthy way, you have to continually work on yourself. I have a lot of people come to me and they're like, well, I want a healthy relationship. Well, in order to have a healthy relationship, you have to work on yourself. Like you can't just expect the perfect partner to show up because they're never going to,
mm-hmm.
right? Like you said, we're all unique. We all have our own little quirks, but we have to choose to be the perfect partner. And that doesn't mean like we do everything perfectly. That means like we take accountability for the space we're in. And that means we choose to be emotionally honest. And that can
Hard
look
one.
really messy,
Mm-hmm.
right? It can look really messy. But making those choices and taking accountability, being emotionally honest, choosing to grow versus staying stagnant, choosing to look at what's coming up for us, and again, not reacting but responding. These are all really important part of a relationship, but we can't have a healthy relationship if we don't do our part. Like individually, we have to do that before we can do it collectively.
Absolutely. I found that it takes so much personal reflection of me, even if I'm having a bad day and I don't necessarily know what's causing it. Just sitting down and, okay, well, what started my day being this bad? Like, was it I woke up and I didn't sleep well, or I had a bad dream, or whatever kickstarted it, to kind of slowly figure out what it's taking me back to in my negative space or a negative relationship, and be able to address it and say, well, that's not me anymore, especially journaling. Journaling has been one that's a huge savior for me for reflection, being able to write it down and in a safe space, knowing that it's not going to come back on me in any way. Nobody's going to say anything bad. Just being honest with myself, especially on, okay, I can't do this anymore. I don't want this anymore. I'm releasing these feelings. I'm going to feel, happiness, joy. I'm going to look for things of gratitude. Um, just everything that's so important for our self care that we don't focus on. I think we get too emotionally focused on, I have to have a partner to make me whole. And we
Hmm.
don't focus enough on I'm a whole person as I am.
Yeah, exactly. And most of us go into relationships not feeling whole.
Hmm.
And then we're trying to backtrack to find that wholeness in ourselves,
Yeah,
where it'd be much easier if we found ourselves and then entered a relationship. But I think one of the beauties of a relationship is that it does help us grow. Like we have a partner reflecting back to us, how we're showing up. And so if we're both willing to navigate that together, it becomes a really growing experience. It becomes a sacred experience, but we have to make that choice. It's always a choice, and we can only choose for ourselves. We can't choose for our partner. So,
absolutely.
yeah, so that can be difficult. And one of the things too that always comes up in most relationship is resentments. Like it's so easy to hold on to resentments.
Hmm.
And I think that's one of the things that's helped me, or the grief recovery method has helped me so much with, is learning to let go of those resentments, doing the work so you can let go of them. Because otherwise, when that next bumpy day comes up and your partner is maybe doing something that is rubbing you the wrong way, our minds go back to, well, 5 years ago when you did da 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 da, it's like, how have we held on to that so tightly? Why are we keeping ourselves in this prison and our partner? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've gotten a lot better at it. I'm still at fault. I can't say I'm perfect by any means. I'll do the same thing from time to time, but it is a very good reminder when you do that kind of Rolodex, like, okay, why are
Right.
we here? It's like, oh, okay, I need to work on this because obviously if this is still bothering me, I haven't let it go and I need to find a
Mhm.
way to heal this.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I still do that once in a while too. And it's as if we expect our partners to be perfect.
Hmm.
And we're not perfect. So how can we ever expect our partners to be perfect, right? We all have bad days. We all say things we shouldn't say. We do things we shouldn't do, and so much I think of little disagreements is often petty things, but it's really easy to hold on to those. And I think the more unhealed our heart is, the more we hold on. I think if we've worked to heal some of those things from either our childhood or our early adult years, um, then it's much easier to let go of the new things that come up and realize they're just a small little drop in the water. But look at the whole vast ocean. There's so much beauty in it. So try to let go of those little things.
I think it also brings up a good point too, where both of you are actively working on your healing.
Mhm.
If you have a bad day, you have a partner that can come and kind of create a little balance and say, hey, you're kind of acting a little off today. What's going on? And so instead of having somebody else coming at you again, reactive and what did you do? Why are you yelling at me? What, making things worse for you, it
Mhm.
really helps to be in a healthy relationship where both are actively working on themselves and working, as you said, together to create this relationship because then you can be that balance for each other. Even if you're having a bad day and you don't want to talk about it, they will then understand, hey, it's okay. I know it's nothing personal against me. She's just having a bad day.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's really important when we can support one another. And I mean, like, even on our wedding day, like, I was getting a little stressed, and he just looked at me and he's like, okay, breathe, sweetie, breathe.
Yep.
Just that reminder, and that we have this person that is like this safe space for us, that we can just rely on to hold space, to be comforting when we're going through those difficult times versus reacting. Because, like you said, it's so easy to react when we hear something or see something that rubs us the wrong way or brings something up from the past. And so it just comes back around to, how we started this. Like, it's so important if we want to be in a relationship that's for our highest good and growth, and to experience that deep, sacred love, we need to be healthy ourselves. And that doesn't mean we have to do all of it before we meet our partner, but we need to keep taking those steps forward to heal because things always come up. Even if it's not something in our relationship, there's things that are going to come up that are going to heal or hurt our hearts from the outside world, from our friendships, our outside family, um, jobs, those kind of things. We're going to experience pain. So we need to be able to navigate that because if we can't, then we do bring it into our relationships.
Yeah, healing is a full-time commitment to ourselves.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I know a lot of people say, oh, it feels too hard.
Mm.
And I think for me, once I started, it didn't feel hard anymore. It felt almost a little exciting because I noticed how my life changed when I stepped into it.
Yeah, exactly. Like we talked about a little bit earlier, where if you're in a negative space and all you're attracting is that kind of negative feelings and everything coming at you negatively, once you step up and feel a little bit more gratitude and joy and love coming into your life, you start to notice a lot more of that popping in different ways. And it does feel different. Again, it's scary to start it, but it gets you into it's no longer as scary or as hard. It's almost necessary for me. I need this today so that I feel okay.
hmm Yeah, I would 100% agree. And I mean, as I look at the quality of my life now versus the quality of my life before, I started my own healing journey, it's so vastly different. I mean, I really lived in a chaotic headspace before, and that's what was comfortable. And once I was able to step out of that, when there's times in my life that are absolute chaos because of things going on around me, it feels very uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Like,
Exhausting, honestly.
yeah, exactly. Like I don't live in this space anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do this. And so it's just a great reminder to me of how much I have grown, how much I continue to grow. When now, something happens and I'm like, this is not comfortable because this isn't how I live anymore.
Mhm. That also brings up another good point too, is on a healing journey, some of the relationships that we have change. They don't stay the same because as we continue to heal and move ourselves into a better space, some of our friends and family get uncomfortable with that feeling because we create boundaries that say, hey, you can't disrespect me anymore, or
Right.
you're not going to treat me this way and I'm not going to allow it. And they don't understand it. They get fearful and they kind
Mhm.
of back off. Others, could get absolutely to where they don't even talk to you at all. It's a really hard
Mhm.
space. Again, adjusting to these new spaces, but finding the freedom and you know what, it's okay, my heart is still safe, I'm not hurting, I'm not allowing you to hurt me. um
Right.
it's just so different. But then once you get to that space as well, some of those fall off. There's others that come in to kind of help compensate, that are there to help lift you up and bring you into that better space. And hey, what's wrong with your day? What's going on? Talk to me, to give you more safe spaces where you do feel like you can actually be that new self.
Mhm.
And it brings you more joy and happiness. And so even though it's scary and some things may disappear, there's better coming.
That's true. Yeah, I 100% agree. It is like you and I have talked about, it can be really uncomfortable because those relationships that we've relied on for so long all of a sudden become distant
Mm-hmm.
or they just drop off altogether. I mean, I have friends who know what I do, and it's almost like they're uncomfortable anymore talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I offer my services to anyone I love, but I don't push them on people. But I think the fact that we continue to do our work and grow, I think that causes discomfort in many people.
I agree. I see it a lot here lately, especially because everybody is struggling. That
Mhm.
if I can keep myself in a good space and not be focused on kind of all of the things that are being thrown at me, it makes me a little weird, if you will,
Right.
because I'm not feeding into that hate, the discontent, all the chaos anymore. I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm here.
Right.
I'll sit outside, I'll drink some tea, I'll do whatever it is that makes me feel at peace with what's going on, and that's what's most important.
Well, and it's really weird and cool, interesting to get out of that space where you feel like you have to engage in everything,
Yes.
where it's just like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I know that's going on. Okay. But not internalizing it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's such a beautiful place to get to because then you can continue your relationships and the other things in your life without getting so affected by what else is going on around you. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's really the true definition of peace, to be able to keep it inside of you, regardless of what happens outside of you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just kind of want to end this with just saying, I think it's really important, like Jana and I talked about, like to have a healthy relationship, you constantly need to do your work.
Yep.
And that doesn't mean every day you need to sit down and, you know, dedicate all these hours to healing. It just means, you know, it's important to be reflective. It's important to do that healing when things come up. It's important to be honest about the pain that sits in your heart from things that have happened in the past because we've all experienced it in some form. Nobody comes out of this life without experiencing pain in some aspect.
Yep.
And so, you know, to make that choice in a relationship to do your own work, regardless of what your partner chooses. Even if your partner chooses to do no work, do that work for you because that is going to improve your relationship and you deserve that.
100%.
So, with that, everyone, thank you for listening today. Please subscribe to our channel. Please share this with somebody you think might find it helpful. And then join us next week for another conversation. And if you want to reach out to either Jana or myself, you will have our websites in the show notes. Take care, my friends. Thank you.
Yeah.